In this next section, we're going to cover how to create designs for a house. In Aurora, you can have multiple designs for a given installation. For example, you might want to show your customer the difference in performance between micro and string inverters, or what the trade-offs are of using different types of modules. Let's get started by clicking on Add Design and giving the design a name. In this case, I am going to call it Autofill. This is optional, but if you want, you can add in a cost and an estimated price at which you're going to sell the system. So this takes us to this overview page, and in here you can see your site. I usually like to get started by clicking on Toggle Irradiance Map. So what this does is it simulates a sun's path for every daylight hour of the year, and it gives you a very nice map of how much sunlight, i.e. irradiance, and shading you will get on this particular house. Great, so in a very intuitive way, you can easily see that the bright red areas are the areas with the most sunlight, and blue are the worst areas to put your solar installation. To get more information, you can just hover over different points, and you can see the different values that Aurora gives you. So let's get started by laying out some modules on this building. I go over to the right and click on Add Component, which opens up a submenu, and next I click on Fill with Modules. I select a module from my drop-down list, so let's just go ahead and go with these Hyundai 250s. I can choose if I want a microinverter or not, and my orientation, let's leave this at portrait. I click OK, and then I select which roof surface I'm interested in. So let's go ahead and click on this one on the left, and you can see down here we have a running total of 48 modules that we can put on that roof surface, which is 12 kilowatts, and given our estimated price, $54,000. If I wanted more information, I click on this magnifying glass titled Roof Face Characteristics, move over to the roof face, and click on it. And you can see it gives me a lot more information. For example, what the average annual irradiance is for that roof, what the average solar axis percentage is, what the pitch, area, azimuth, and the module count on that particular roof surface is. And you can download this information into Excel. For practice, let's do the same thing on this other side of the roof. So I'll go over here, click on Add Component again, Fill with Modules. This time, just for fun, I am going to go ahead and select Landscape. Click OK. Click on this. And once again, you can see it fills it up with as many modules as will fit landscape. So now my running total is 84 modules, which is 21 kilowatts. Now, one of the nicest features about Aurora is we can actually show the customer exactly what this would look like. Firstly, in 2D, if I click Toggle Satellite Imagery, I can pull up the house beneath this, and you have the option of turning on and off the map if you don't want to see it. But in addition to that, if I click on 3D visualization, you can see that Aurora superimposes the modules you use directly onto the building. So you can imagine what this does for your closing rate when you can show the customer exactly what their house would look like with modules on it. I think we can all agree this looks great. If you want to change the color and type of the module, just go over here to the right settings, and you can go ahead and change the type of module that you have. For example. Great. So let's go back to our layout. This was good for demonstration purposes, but it wasn't a very good system. We had a lot of modules in areas where there was shading and things like that, so we probably want to deal with that problem. So I just reran my irradiance map so I can get a good look at the site once more. And while that is running, I am going to go ahead and delete the modules that I currently have on there. I do that by clicking on Box Select over here. and highlighting this entire region and just hitting delete on my keyboard. You can see they're gone. So what I want to do now is find an easy way to lay out all the modules but avoid these areas that are really heavily shaded and I'm not going to get much production out of. To do that, I click on Add Component. Let's select Fill with Modules. Once again, let's go back to our good old Hyundais. This time, I'm going to add a microinverter just to show you how to do that. Click OK. I'll stick with my landscape orientation, but now I'm going to tell Aurora only fill in areas that have at least 80% solar access percentage. Click OK. Click on this roof face, and you can see that Aurora automatically avoids all of these areas that do not meet the threshold. So, for example, up here, this is around a 73% solar access percentage, so I'm in the clear. Great. So that is how to use the autofill command. I will now show you how to create a new design, but this time we're going to use manual fill. So I go up here and click Add Design, and let's call this Manual Fill. And I will go ahead and keep the same cost basis as I did before. The major difference with manual fill versus autofill is, in this case, I'm going to tell Aurora how many modules I'd like to place on this roof surface. So that's usually easier if I toggle on the satellite imagery. And then I go over here to the right, click on Add Component, and instead of Fill with Modules, I'm going to select Array. So I will choose a module. Let's choose these Hyundai 250s. And let's go ahead and say I want to put 4 rows of 7 modules each in the portrait orientation. If I click OK, I have this block of modules which I can move around, and it actually will change orientation to fit the azimuth of the different roof surfaces I'm on. Let's go ahead and put this down here. And you can see that this isn't the best design because some modules are overlapping to the other side of this roof. So I'll go ahead and select these by holding down the Shift key and clicking on them. I'm going to drag this over here and do the same with the next row of modules. Alright, great. So now you can see I could probably do a better job with aligning these. These look a little bit too close. So I'll just once again hold down Shift. And there we go. Now it's nicely aligned. So now you can see we have 28 modules, which is 7 kilowatts. So this is how you would go ahead and design a system when you already know exactly what you would like.